I love being the last 20 minutes right before lunch.
I know, it's great, isn't it? You have to be really high energy.
Yes,
I'm
you do.
out of breath.
Also, one of my friends said we should have done a shot of Crown Royal up here.
I
so
agree.
We're gonna have to do that at 5 later. Oh.
It could be,
Do we have little glasses?
it could be a little bit awkward to just take that.
All right.
Keep ourselves nice at this point.
Yes, exactly. So, we'll talk about some of the specifics there, but I think as crazy it is to say this, as we enter our third March in this remote hybrid world, how's your perspective on 2022 come about, and then how are you implementing that into the whiskey portfolio?
Yeah, I mean, I think if we think about the last 2 years, right? Yeah, we're in the third year coming in. But it's been, no one will want to go through what we've been through, any of us. I think it's been a fascinating time though. And I think a time when, you've seen brands pivot in radical ways. I mean, if I think about our business, so much of it was being out in the street, providing people with experiences to interact with brands. A lot of that we took online, and we did it really well. The generosity hour, hashtag generosity hour that you saw pop up there. I was trying to get through everything in my 10 minutes, but was a fantastic pivot that we took through COVID, where we said, we're going to use all the people that are involved in brands, and we're going to hold concerts and happy hours. And when you make a drink and you take a photo of it and you hashtag generosity hour, then we will donate to bartenders. And it was part of our Tips from Home platform that we launched, right? So when you talk about how do we feel about, you think about to-go cocktails, craft cocktails in a can, that has absolutely exploded in the last 18 months. If you think about platforms like Sourced, which are which originally started as getting bartenders back to work because of what was going on in the industry, where we would partner with different partners and get at-home kits to people, right? That was a new business that popped up. All that stuff, e-com has got nuts. People buying our products on e-commerce, and we're behind everybody else, has gone nuts. So I think, I always answer that question going, what was an absolutely terrible time gave way to a lot of new opportunities, and they will stay, using digital, embracing different e-com platforms, creating new experiences that are more accessible, and travel. That's all here to stay, I think.
Just become part of the overall experience.
Yeah, I still like getting back in the real world, although this would be about the first time I have for a while, so it's quite fun.
It is
but those things are going to stay, I think. And I think that the at-home entertaining, you look at tequila and you think about the food movement, you think about, I don't know how many of you did that when you did in COVID, but looking up chefs and learning how to, wasn't there a massive thing where people took up baking or something? Banana bread was huge. Sourdough bread, right. Okay, so at home baking, cooking, and those sort of creating cocktails went along with that, and I think it's here to stay.
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked a lot about the sports initiatives, specifically the official partnership of or official spirit partner of the NFL, which is phenomenal. Some of the social responsibility, the giving back, I think great initiatives. Talk a little bit about how that has helped to inspire some of the other brands in your portfolio to either get involved in sports or from a social responsibility standpoint, start some of their own initiatives.
Yeah. I think, we talked when we were chatting before, we talked about, you're always looking to ignite your branding culture, to get involved in passion points, and to share values with your consumers. And I think sport is just such an amazing platform for our brands to activate in the right way. If I think about Johnny Walker, right, we have, it's like, our whole purpose is around kind of collective progress and empowering people to move forward. And I don't know if we have any soccer fans in here, but Angel City is a soccer team. It's founded by women, it's funded by women, it's women. And we've just done some amazing stuff with them, like, and we're about to release, actually, doing their new anthem, which we put our beloved Brittany Howard, who we did the election and the campaign with, where she re-recorded "You'll Never Walk Alone." At that, when we basically partnered her up with Angel City to get a new anthem recorded for the team, to help continue to raise money and awareness about what they're doing and who they are. So, you know, it's interesting. For good and sports it's really easy to find if you have a look for it, right? If you think about, you know, Captain Morgan's activating all this weekend, Smirnoff owning all the tailgating, you know, and then, of course, Crown for the last 5 years has had the Water Break platform, which is social responsibility, which is, you know, I mean, we've all kind of, I'm sure, been to a sporting event or a concert or something where one of our friends is, you know, not behaving appropriately and destroys the experience for everyone. So the insight is really, don't be that person and have a water break so we can all enjoy the day. And that's been running for 5 years. And that's not just an ad. That's in-stadium activation. And I think it works, and we have data behind it working because it's real. Right. You know, we're out there being practical and telling people to do it. And as you saw in it's in another film, we have a sizzle rillable out NFL stuff, and you see these two dudes, they're kind of tailgating and they're going, "Water break!" You know, so they've just adopted it themselves. And I think that's when you do it with.
You win when it becomes an absolute just part of the experience of the weekend. I mean, we've talked about this phenomenal culture in sports, and specifically the NFL. I think I read a stat last week that 95 of the top 100 TV programs in 2021 were NFL games from a rating standpoint.
But yeah, I mean, you can't. People would say, "Oh, we're going to do that." Like, whatever you want to say, the number one reach platform is NFL, and it's not just television.
Right, exactly. So talk a little bit about that ecosystem and what that culture does for you, from a brand standpoint, like from a whiskey portfolio standpoint, or even Crown Royal, but then also through the lens of the consumer that consumes your products as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the ecosystem, which we didn't have enough time to go into, but we have a massive case study on, is, you know, I watch the NFL. I'm actually a major rugby fan, so I'm not going to be as articulate about all the wormholes you can go down as probably a lot of people in this room. But what I would say is it's about understanding where people are engaging, what platforms they're engaging on, and the behaviors that surround those platforms. You know, like there will be many, many people at home having people over this weekend and hosting Super Bowl. Right? It's probably a massive TV moment, but it's also a massive secondary platform moment where people will be betting and they'll be touching. So really what it is from a media and what I would say an experience planning perspective is understanding where all the audiences are engaging and understanding how you can bring your platform to bear on those in a way that's true to the idea. And I think, you know, the DraftKings one is a classic example of that. You know, we could have just taken digital banners or something on it and just Crown Royal, please have a Crown Royal. It's not very interesting, is it? So how do you actually use the platform in the way that you want people to participate in your idea, which is why we said, well, when you bet, we'll donate. So we took it over as a basically turning gambling platform into a platform for good, which was pretty ambitious. But I mean, I guess it's like, and in an e-com, what is it about? Well, if you go down the track of looking at the stuff that we're doing on the e-commerce or the things we're putting out on social, a lot of it is about at-home packs, cocktail kits, so educational. How do you get to, you know, what are you serving a Super Bowl? So I think it's about. So we're talking about the ecosystem. Where are the consumers participating? Where are they engaging? What are they doing when they're on them? And what do they use that particular environment for? And then contextually, how can you shape your idea to be a part of that experience versus just a, hello, I'm here, please choose me. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. So virtually the spot I told you, the make small, make small places that make game day big really resonated. As a football fan, anyone in this room who is, it resonates with, because you all have that bar you go to that has the Joe that's at the door every single Sunday, or the Bill behind the bar that changes the remote if you want a game that's not normally on at that bar or at market, you need another game on, he's going to change the channel. The bartenders that make your drinks every week. So what I think everyone would love to understand a little bit more is how that whole theme came about, the creative process, from a media standpoint, the creative process, and then how that kind of got infused in your community events and the campaign itself and all the different activations, experiential things.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I started to sort of get into it at the beginning, but Crown Royal, being the biggest, most valuable whiskey brand in the US, plays so heavily in many, many communities, right, across the country. And, about 5 years, we were like, well, what's the relationship? We've got the purple bag. What do we want to stand for? And that's where we really landed on the fact that within those communities, we want to be a vehicle for giving. And how do we do that? And, luckily, as we kind of worked with the NFL, and we have 17 or something team sponsorships, local communities, the campaign that we ran through COVID was really a direct call for people to stream the song that we re-recorded, which was If You Want Me to Stay. That was all about saying to everybody who enjoys their bar, club or restaurant, if you want me to stay around, stream this song so I can get some financial aid. And that was such a huge hit that as we entered into the NFL, we were like, we don't really feel like it's time to move away from that. Actually, it's time to double down, because this industry is still facing so many challenges, staffing, etc. So how do we use the NFL as a platform for good? How do we team up with the teams, local charities, local hospitality charities, local military charities, fantastic NFL people engaged in the brand already who have been engaged in the brand for years, country music people, and how do we actually activate in the local community and hero some of the people in the local community and make sure that we are giving back to the small places that everyone will enjoy. So, how do we do it logistically? We did it through people engaged in the brand from the NFL, country music, and on the ground in bars and clubs. Charities who we've already worked with through all of COVID, teams, stadiums, our on-premise teams, and just a lot of hours and dedication and focus, right? And then just thinking every time we did something, how does it unlock a donation? And where does it go? So if you're looking at something, it's like, what is this doing? So I guess it's down to walking the talk. Really.
Yeah, absolutely. And continuing on that for a quick minute, talking about the DraftKings partnership, which I think was great that you guys were matching the dollars. I wanted to talk about that space for a minute, because you see DraftKings and FanDuel and now the sports books, you have MGM and Caesars and everyone out there with bets. And, we work with a lot of these clients, and literally every week now we're getting another request. Okay, we just got approved in Louisiana. We just got approved in New York. We just got approved here. We need to fast forward the process so that we can advertise it as well. So now you bring alcohol into the mix as well. So how are you guys navigating that space, partnering with a gambling company, and now utilizing that as partnerships potentially moving forward? Is that a space where you feel like you're going to double down there?
Yeah, I mean, look, the way we look at it is, Diageo is about celebrating life every day, everywhere, responsibly. It's also about having, if you listen to Ivan, our global CEO, it's about having positive impact on society and everything we do. So we have a huge education program around responsibility, responsible drinking. We have a massive inclusivity and diversity agenda, and we have a huge sustainability agenda, right, for 2030. And so that's a long way of saying that. How are we going to engage? Yeah, you can't ignore gaming or gambling. I mean, gaming's arguably bigger than television, biggest industry in the world. So I'm going to engage in a positive impact, which is what you see crowdfunding, which is like, okay, you're having fun, you're engaged with your community, you're going to take your back in a match, right? So I'd say when dealing with alcohol, if you're one of these platforms, how would you do something for good? Improve the impact, social impact that we have out there on something that people are engaged, which you know, they're having fun, they're enjoying it, and we're also doing good, would be the way we'll continue to engage.
That's great. I think that's a pretty good way to end, right?
I think that's fantastic. So thank you again to